Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirkley's Guitar School. Today we're going to have a look at Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison, including the little dyad bit at the beginning, which a lot of people overlook. Stick with this one, guys, it's a little bit of a different kind of thing to get your under your fingers, and it's well worth your time. There's a free downloadable tab and chord sheet for this that you can get from our Facebook group. First link in the description. You can download any of the tabs or any of the music that I've done on YouTube completely for free, don't want anything from you. And it would be good to, especially with this beginning bit, to go through it with the tabs printed out in front of you. I'm playing electric and acoustic guitar for the relevant parts today just because I feel like it. You don't necessarily have to do that at home. If you've either got one or the other, this will translate to either relatively easy. Finally, there's a little bit more of an accessible version. There's more beginners focused kind of version of this. As and when that's available, I'm not sure when I'm going to upload it, but when I do, I'll pop it in the description. If you feel like this is a little bit too challenging, there's an alternative one that'll still get you through the song and get you 90% there. So this is what we're up against first. We've got the beginning... So we'll break this down into chunks, but this is using dyads. Now a dyad is two notes played on top of each other at the same time in harmony. Now these are little major and minor third dyads. That's as much as you need to know right now. You'll hear this sound a lot, this sort of move. The lovely sound, and it's well worth getting under your fingers. Now I'm using the Strat today on the neck pickup with just the clean channel on the Princeton. I've got my bass at 5 and my treble at 6. Don't be afraid of this sounding a little bit pokey and a little bit wiry. It's okay. So every note on this for the next 3 slides, every note on the high E string I'm going to be playing with my my index finger. Then I'm going to swap between the middle finger and the ring finger depending on how far. It's either the notes are either next door to each other or they're a fret apart. If there's a fret gap, I want you to use your index and ring fingers. If there's no fret gap, I'd like you to use just your index and your middle. So I'm going to start by piling the 7th fret of the high E and then the 8th fret of the B on top of each other, and I'm just striking these 2 strings. And you should be able to hear both of them ringing out clear. I'm then going to move up and I'm going to press fret 8 and now fret 10. So you see how my ring fingers come in for that. 7 and 8, 8 and 10. And then I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to move it up 2 frets. So I've got 10 on the top, 12 on the bottom. So you see how I'm gradually moving up the neck. Just get that under your fingers first. The more time you spend here, the easier the rest of this will be. And then for the remainder of the bar, you're then going to go back to once you came. So think about it. If you think about this as number 1, number 2, number 3, we then play number 2 again and number 1 again. You see how it's a sequence. You're moving up 3 notes and then back 2. Take that, pause the video and get that under your fingers. Remember, don't be stretching that middle finger over. If there's a fret gap, use your ring finger. Moving on. So bar 1's still the same. Bar 1's what we've just covered. Bar 2 is the next part. Now, the sequence is essentially the same, but starting on fret 8 and 7 and fret 8, I'm now going fret 12 and fret 13, but can you still see? I know it's a little bit cramped up here and my sausage fingers are definitely getting in the way for you seeing what I'm doing. So I've got 12 and 13, no gap. I then move up a fret but then create a gap, so I've got 13 and 15, 13 on the top, 15 on the... I then take that whole shape, move it up again, 2 frets. And then just as before, walk back down it. It's the same, you know how like sometimes you can play a scale in one place and that's a certain shape and you just move it up 2 frets and can do the same shape. It's that kind of idea. It's the same. Just walking up and down major scales, but don't forget the rhythm either. Da 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 da. Crotchets and the quavers are on the top of the tab. That's what those little tails off the music mean. Now, the more time you spend here, the easier the rest of this is going to be. So I advise pausing the video and getting those 2 little bits under your fingers. If you're feeling reasonably confident, that's the whole 4-bar phrase, and you can see there's repeat markers on either side, which mean that we are repeating that. So at bar 1, bar 2, up to the dusty end. Bar 3 is a repeat of bar 1. And then to finish it off, you're going to break out of this little dyad position, because we're only playing 1 note at a time. You're going to move up to the G string, 7th fret. Roll down, roll that finger down to the 7th fret of the string below, so that'll be the B string. Middle finger on 8, pinky on 10. Da 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 da. Pause the video and get that under your fingers for me. That's all. We're going to play that lick twice and then move on to the chords. So that being said, we'll just quickly knock that off so it's not buzzing. I'm going to play this on my J45 because I've just put a fresh set of strings on it. Now I made that far more awkward than it needed to be, didn't I? So I'll put my strap down there. So like I said, the rest of this is chords. I'm going to just play it on acoustic guitar because I think it sounds better, but a nice clean channel like you use for the intro on electric guitar would still suffice. If you've got a dreadnought style guitar, you might struggle to get up to the dusty end for the... You see how I'm struggling to get up there? A lot of acoustic guitars now have a cutaway. Just use what you've got, you'll make it work. So these are the chords that we're going to use for the rest of the song. So we've got a G, C, E minor, and D. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the 3 chords that we're going to be working with today. Now, for the remainder of the song, we're going to be using the good old down, down, up, up, down strumming pattern. So I'm just doing mute first to show you. So we've got 2 downstrokes, 2 upstrokes, and another downstroke. Down, down, up, up, down. Try it with the G chord. If you're struggling with this pattern, I did a video, I'll put a link to it in the description where I break this down in detail. This is under the assumption that you're okay with this strumming pattern because it's one of the fairly early ones. So then the song's split now into 2 sections. You've got your verse section, so you see how we've got repeat markers either side again, and we are going to do the down, down, up, up, down strumming pattern, and we're going to play G, C, G, D. We're going to do it 4 times. Now you see how there's the sheet music over here with the G chord, but then when we get to the C we just go to the 4 slashes. What that means in my charts, because I write these out myself, what this means is we're just going to continue that down, down, up, up, down strumming pattern. It doesn't mean go to 4 strokes to the bar. It just means continue doing the strumming pattern for the remainder of the song. This strumming pattern sits over everything else we're going to look at. So you've got G, C, G, D. And we're going to do that 4 times, nice and even. With no drama. Now, once you've done the twiddly bit, and you move on to the chords, that should, if he hasn't started singing yet, you've missed something. Okay? We're going to do that 4 times. Now that doubles up as a verse and a chorus, because it can be the Hey, where did we go? Days when the rain's but it can also be sha la 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 dee da. So I'm going to interchangeably say verse and chorus, but it's the same chords and the same strumming pattern. So think of that as like section A that comes in and out. And then you've got section B that looks a little bit like this. Now, the lyric of as you go to the C, D, my brown-eyed girl. And then we've got E minor. It only features occasionally, but when it does, it has a really big impact because you're going from the root chord to what we call the relative minor, and it's a really lovely change to C, D, G. So there's no repeat markers here. This just sort of separates the verses and the choruses, and then it's a nice little mid-section. Again with the down, down, up, down strumming pattern. Now looking at the chart, again if you reference the free PDF, it'll do the verse 4 times, you see the repeat markers, followed by the midsection on bar 9 where it goes to C and there's no repeat markers. Following that, wrong camera, following that you'll do another verse, another pre-chorus, and then at the bottom of page 1 you'll see that it sits on a D chord for 2 bars. And then goes into the chorus at the top of page 2, if memory serves me correct. So occasionally you'll be asked to sit on a bar, like sit on a D for a little bit, waiting for the rest of the band to catch up. You'll be able, if you can play along with that, you'll be able to sight read that. Now after the chorus, there on the chart you'll see there's a section cornered off that says bass solo, and those bars have like a little cube, a little block in each of the bars. Those are called rests, and all I want you to do is just sit that out, and you'll hear the bass do the, I think it's 8 bars long, and then you'll hear the drummer do a little fill, and you'll come back in for verse 3. You will be able to sight read it. If you can read all that, it will all come to you. So that's all the sections. You have a nice little rest in the middle. You do verse 3 and then a double chorus to finish, and it fades out, does the record. So don't worry about counting how many times you do that last chorus, because I think I've put it as 4 times round, but actually it's more like 2.5, 3.5, something like that. Really, really important that you're finishing at the same time as everybody else. So if that one was a little bit advanced for you, we have got an alternative one in the description. You can check that out below. That'll be linked. I'll also link the video to the strumming pattern if you think that needs some work too. Head over to the Facebook group and say hello. If you've got a recommendation for some songs that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the description, and I'll see you next week for another guitar lesson. Thank you so much.